Welcome! Today we're going to talk about this awesome 2022 Rivian R1T all-electric pickup truck that we have for sale. This is the adventure model. We do really well with Rivians at Infiniti of Tacoma. We sold I think 3 or 4 last month. In fact, the last one I tried doing a video of, I did the video, but by the time I got to editing it, it sold. They sell so fast, sometimes I don't even have a chance to take pictures, or we don't have even a chance to get them cleaned. Hopefully it's not the case for this one. Okay, so let's talk about this one. I'm going to do a little walk around, and I want to actually get behind the wheel and take it for a spin and talk about fast charging and fast charge it. So right now we're only at 16% range, about 45 miles. I'm going to take this thing to a fast charger. I'm going to go through the process with you because I know a lot of people have questions about charging. So you'll see how much it costs, how long time it takes. I don't think I'll do a 100% charge, but you'll kind of get an idea what it's like to live with one of these things and what it's like to charge it on the road. All right, so let's take a look at the sticker here. Luckily, we have the original sticker for this one to leave some of the guesswork out of the options on it, but it's actually pretty straightforward. If we go over here to the settings, you can see here, you go to About, R1T Adventure Package, Interior, Black Mountain, Dark Ash Wood, LA Silver, Battery, Large Pack, Motor, Quad, Motor, All-Wheel Drive, Wheels, 20-inch, All-Terrain, Dark Wheels, Assembly, Normal, Illinois. So yeah, this is an American vehicle. So if you want to buy American, buy a Rivian. Okay, so the base MSRP was $73,000. Then the large battery pack was $6,000. The LA Silver exterior color was not an extra cost color. The 20-inch all-terrain dark wheels and tires, $3,500. Quad motor all-wheel drive, $6,000. Vehicle subtotal, $88,500. Then when you add a destination fee, it goes to $90,300 for the original MSRP. For miles, we only have 816 miles. And actually, for a while, these Rivians, when they first came out, they were selling for over $100,000. But right now, I'm not going to get into exact pricing because it changes every week. But right now, we're actually asking less than the original MSRP on this one, which is nice. We actually buy a lot of pre-owned cars from people off the street. We work with Kelly Blue Book Instant Cash Offer. We're actually a buying center, so we got a lot of leads from people just like you who want to sell their vehicle. And we actually do buy a decent amount of vehicles from people who are buying new Rivians and new Teslas because they're not getting enough for a trade-in. Obviously, it's awesome to get a new car, but when you're not getting a good trade-in value, sometimes they go ahead and buy the new Tesla or Rivian. But our trade-in, well, not our trade-in, but our offer to purchase the vehicle is so much higher that they'll actually sell us their vehicle instead of trading it in. So that's the thing to consider. So maybe if this one's still available and you're considering a new Rivian, this one's immediately available for less than the MSRP. And if you have a vehicle to trade in, we might be a little bit more generous for trade-in value versus what they give you at Rivian. Because the thing with Rivian and Tesla, they don't sell used vehicles really. Tesla sells, I think, a few used Teslas, but they're not equipped to sell regular gas-powered vehicles. They send them all to auction, where dealerships like us, a used car business is really big, so we rely on a lot of used cars coming on trade to keep our used car supply, so it's a little bit different there. All right, beautiful interior. The fit and finish is absolutely amazing on Rivians. Teslas have a great fit and finish. They were ridiculed a lot. They've come a long way. We have we have a 22 Model X Plaid and Model S Plaid, pretty much the flagship vehicles from Tesla. Interiors are beautiful. And I can tell you Tesla has a lot of advantages still today over Rivian, but the one thing that Rivian has is an absolutely amazing interior. The fit and finish is excellent, but the level of detail, if you look at the wood trim, the leather stitching, little things like this, all these little intricacies, is a level of detail that you don't get with Tesla. This feels almost like a level of Range Rover type luxury. It's really that nice of an interior. And as far as American cars go, I think this is better than pretty much anything. We were just in we have a 23 Cadillac Escalade, $120,000 Cadillac Escalade. Those are nice, but I like the interior. I think the interior is nicer than this, even on something like that, a Cadillac or Lincoln. This thing is absolutely beautiful. I mean, look at the level of detail. It's absolutely amazing. Tesla, does have advantages like the infotainment system and the charging. They do have some advantages there, but fit and finish and just the level of luxury and detail, Rivian really has it dialed. Okay, let's keep this video walking along because we want to get behind the wheel and take this for a spin and show you what it's like to charge it. So a lot of the functionality here is in this screen. And talking about different Rivians, so the first Rivian that came out was a quad motor, which this one is. It has a motor for each wheel. giving it over 800 horsepower. This thing is absolute rocket ship. This thing, 0 to 60 in like 3 seconds. It's ridiculous how fast it goes. But also, off-roading is pretty amazing as well. This has a air suspension, so you can raise the height of the suspension for great off-road prowess, and you can lower the suspension for on-road driving. That makes the more streamlined and aerodynamic, and that also lowers the center of gravity to improve handling and stuff like that. But Rivian has a new dual motor version of the R1T that just came out. Fantastic pickup truck. They have a performance version where it's actually getting pretty close, like 0 to 60 is getting pretty close to what you actually get with the quad motor. But the advantage of the quad motor versus a dual motor for rock crawling, driving in the sand, the most off-roadable version of the Rivian is still the quad motor, because you can modulate power to each individual wheel. That just makes it that much better off-road. The ability to precisely modulate power at each individual wheel, that really makes this thing amazing off-road. There's people, doing some really technical off-roading on this thing. You do have to know its limits. It is heavy, but it also is really impressing a lot of people with how amazing this thing does off-road. Fit and finish is absolutely spectacular. And as far as size goes, this is not a full-size pickup truck. Some people might compare this to the new Ford F-150 Lightning. The Ford F-150 is a very big full-size pickup truck. The Rivian R1T is more like a compact. This is along the size of like a Toyota Tacoma or Ford Ranger. So I think the type of people who are buying, the F-150s, those type of buyers, they might be using it for their trade or work. And daily driving a large vehicle is okay, but when it comes to maneuvering it, parking it in tight urban situations, this one's a little bit more manageable. It doesn't feel as gargantuan as the F-150. Same thing with the upcoming Tesla Cybertruck. Obviously, that's a really hotly anticipated vehicle, but that is also a full-size truck. It's a lot bigger than the Rivian R1T. So the Rivian R1T, in a lot of ways, is still in a market all its own. And the styling is very distinctly Rivian too, and I'm warming up to it a lot. I really think these things are beautiful. I see them driving on the road and they look absolutely spectacular. Look at that huge glass roof panel too. Okay, we have lots of storage too of the Rivian. So on both sides you have this gear tunnel, which is really large. There's also a 12-volt outlet there. They have an integrated first aid kit and stuff, and a tool kit on each side. And these things are strong as well. You can stand on them, you can sit on them. They're very, very sturdy. The way the bed is designed is also unique as well. The way the bed is hinged, when you extend it, it actually makes it pretty long. It's about a 4-foot bed when the tailgate is up, but you can see the way it's hinged. It actually extends the bed pretty far, so obviously things can roll out off the back, but if you're putting like plywood and stuff in the back, or larger objects, just as long as you can tie them down, you don't have to worry about them rolling off the back. With the tailgate down, it actually extends the bed to a fairly large size. On this side, we have power outlets. On this side, we have an air compressor. Then if you lift this button right here, more storage, or you could put a spare tire here. A spare tire is optional. You can get one from Rivian, but honestly, if you just get a similar size steel wheel and tire of a 5-lug bolt pattern similar to this, that would be an adequate spare tire, and a lot cheaper probably for what Rivian charges. And this has the all-terrain tires, which is a really nice touch. And and a quick giveaway to tell if a Rivian's a quad motor is a yellow brake calipers. That's a clear giveaway. Only the quad motors have the yellow brake calipers. Pretty much all the 2022 Rivians are quad motors. The dual motor didn't come out to 2023. And check this out. I love the front end styling. Really looks cool at night. Since there's no engine up here, you have a frunk, and it's very large. Oh, and we're not done yet. Look at this. There's even another level right there. Really big. Okay, let's get behind the wheel, take it for a spin, and let's take it to a fast charger and see how it fast charges. All right, let's take this thing to a fast charger because we're only at 45 miles and 16%. And I know there's gonna be some people coming in wanting to test drive this thing and probably feeling the full power, definitely sucking down the range. So let's get this thing charged up. So let's talk about charging. So the best way to charge a vehicle like this, and the cheapest way, is always to do it at your home. That is the best way. Honestly, with a vehicle like this, the battery is so big in these things, it takes so much energy to fast charge it. You really only want to fast charge every once in a while. I've heard stories of people having to pay like $40 or $50 just for one charging session on a vehicle like this. Because you have to think about this thing weighs 7,000 pounds. It's a big pickup truck. The battery in this thing is a lot bigger than in a Tesla Model 3 like I have. So it takes a lot more energy to fill up the batteries. Obviously, if you charge from home, that's the least expensive way. You can charge off a 110 outlet. So the charger that comes with this Rivian has an adapter, so you can plug it into a 110 outlet or a 220 outlet. I can tell you, the battery is so big in this thing, charging off a 110 outlet will take like a week to get a full charge. It adds like 1 mile of range per hour. A long time. So if you have a Rivian, you need to set up a 220 charging at your house. It has an adapter for a 220 outlet, and then you go home, you plug it in, you'll have a full charge overnight. So when it comes to road tripping and, you know, driving further than your daily commute range, that's where it gets a little bit more tricky in a vehicle like this. And just keeping it real, that's where Tesla has the big advantage. Tesla went through the pain, the growing pains, and they started building a supercharging network back in 2015. You know, back in 2015, they started off of like, you know, a couple hundred. Back in 2015, I think they had maybe 300 fast chargers in the United States. Now I think it's like 30,000. The good news is Tesla is talking about opening up their supercharging network to everyone. In fact, Rivian is gonna, I'm pretty sure Rivian's gonna actually change over to the North American charging standard, which is the Tesla style chargers. But right now, at least in our area, even though Tesla is talking about opening up their charging to other vehicles besides Teslas, there's only one place in my Tesla app where I can find non-Tesla charging, and it's like 20 miles away. So we're not at that point yet. So if you want a fastest charge on the road, you don't have the proprietary charging like what Tesla has. You're kind of relying on a patchwork network of fast chargers. You have Electrify America, Blink, ChargePoint. There's a lot of them out there. But the thing is that every time you use a charger, you know, you might need a different app or something like that to use it. So just keeping it real, you know, for those of you who have grand visions of getting a Rivian and road tripping all over Washington and, you know, doing road trips around the country, you're gonna probably run into disappointment. Even with Teslas, it's hard to, you know, do long distance road trips, you know, because you have to charge every 200 or 300 miles, even with the long range Teslas. So that's going to lead to disappointment. For those of you, for people, you know, like me, who just mostly daily drive, like my daily commute is 20, 30 miles. You know, I have a Tesla Standard Range Plus, which, you know, is fully charged range is about 240 miles. I never ever come close to running out of range. There's only been a couple times in the past year of me owning my Tesla where I had to fast charge it. So for those of you who can, you know, get a 220 charging at your home, daily charge, and maybe once or a couple times a year fast charge it, those of you are going to be happy with a vehicle like this. All right, here we are, rolling out really nicely. I'm actually using Rivian's, I forget the exact name, their highway assist. It's kind of like their version of autopilot. Doesn't work as perfect as autopilot, but it works pretty good. It will follow gentle bends on the highway. It will move the flow of traffic. ADAS systems really make a huge difference driving on the highway like this. To me, when I love driving, but this type of driving on the highway is almost torturous. So having these ADAS systems, it pretty much takes the whole workload of driving off me, and just puts me in supervisor mode. Obviously you still have to pay attention. It's telling me to keep my hand in the wheel. It really makes such a big difference. So when you're behind the Rivian, when you're behind the wheel of the Rivian, the one thing you'll notice is the weight. Even though this thing is about the same footprint as a compact pickup truck, it's a big boy. It weighs over 7,000 pounds. So that's one thing, you know, obviously if you drive this back to back with something, you know, like a Tacoma, then you get behind the wheel of this, it drives beautifully, it's smooth, but you can definitely feel the weight. There's no hiding that. But with the air suspension, the way they tune the chassis, it does a great job hiding things. All right, it looks like I'm in a little bit of a log jam here, so I'll spare you the boredom of getting past this, and I'll check in with you in a little bit. All right, this highway assist, I guess that's what they call it, on the Rivian has been a godsend. Works really good on the highway, very similar to autopilot. It's pretty intuitive. You have this button right here to adjust the speed. And then you have this control knob up here to adjust the following distance, how close you want to follow the vehicle in front of you. And then you push down on it twice, kind of like autopilot and Tesla, to activate it. So yeah, these ADAS systems, I can't tell you how awesome they are. If you drive and stop and go traffic on the highway, it'll make your life so much easier. With the vehicle taking the workload of driving on the highway for you, whenever I turn it on, I can feel a whole weight of stress just kind of elevate off my shoulders. It is so nice, and it makes my driving experience so much better. And luckily, here we have the off-ramp. Here we have our off-ramp. We're gonna go towards the Auburn Mall, where they have some Electrify America chargers, and it looks like you can kind of pull up the charging network where you can charge the Rivian at. So I have Electrify America. I really haven't found out if they have the ability. I'm sure there is a way to navigate to it. You can also see I switched views. Before we kind of had an illustrated view, where now we have this really cool live map view, very detailed. It looks like they use Google Maps. Yeah. All right, here we go, getting close. It is so quiet in here. That's the nice thing about electric vehicles. Not only is it quiet because it's an electric vehicle, but it's also quiet because Rivian really put a lot of soundproofing in here on the glass, throughout the vehicle and the doors, making it like a sensory deprivation chamber. And the smooth linear power delivery of electric motors is almost addicting. You know, I need to get in the left lane, so, you know, sometimes it's hard to find your spot in traffic. I just give a little gas and I can easily find my spot to move over. Getting in front of people, getting around people of this instant thrust, it is very easy. Because sometimes, you know, people might not want to let you merge in front of them, or or when you're merging on the highway or changing lanes. Well, you can find a space with this amount of power. You just, you know, sometimes if I'm, you know, when you put your turn signal on and to change lanes, you can see the person behind you, you know, speeding up to not let you in. Well, they're gonna have a hard time doing it in a vehicle like this with 800 electric horsepower. You're pretty much, all these cars here, you're faster than 95% of the cars on the road. You're gonna put a lot of sports cars to shame. Obviously, top end speed, this is a truck. I mean, you're not gonna go more than like 100, you know, 100 miles an hour in this thing. You know, it's not a sports car, but up to 100 miles an hour, this thing is gonna pretty much take out pretty much any other gas powered vehicle on the road that you encounter. So the way battery chemistry works, the emptier a battery is, the faster it charges. So it's good that the battery is fairly empty, because it's going to charge really fast with only 13%. So the way as batteries get charged and the charge starts to get towards 100%, you'll notice the rate of charging pretty much on any electric vehicle slow down. So if you want to fast charge, I guess it's always more you know, economical to do it with a completely almost completely empty battery like right now. And the thing, so Tesla's charging network is fairly accurate. So if you're cutting it close, if you have 20 miles of range, usually when you get to a Tesla charger, 99% of the time, you know you're good. You know, once you get there, you're going to be able to charge without an issue. But with a vehicle like this, when we're relying on a third-party patchwork of chargers, I wouldn't let it get that close down to that wire. You don't want to go down there with, you know, get to a charger of only 5 miles of range, because sometimes the charger might be completely full, it might be broken, something might be wrong with it, it might not be charging as fast as it's advertised to. So you want to always leave a little bit of a buffer zone to drive to another charger for some reason if you run into any issues like it being full, not working, or not charging anywhere near as fast as it's advertised. What a beautiful October day. It's October 5th and it's absolutely stunning out. Feels like a summer day almost. All right, we're getting close, finally, to getting through all that traffic. And then you have the regenerative braking. And it's kind of funny, I guess, you know, we're conditioned to just like gas cars because that's all we ever known. But with electric vehicles, they have regenerative braking. So what they do is they reverse the polarity of the electric motors. So all that energy you'd normally lose through braking, they recapture it because they use the electric motors as brakes. So it takes all that energy you'd normally lose through heat, through the brakes, and it takes that kinetic energy and it puts it back to the batteries by reversing those electric motors and turning them into generators. So that's why you have that aggressive deceleration when you get off the throttle. That's regenerative braking, but it's making it more efficient. You just have to get used to it. But the thing I like is with that aggressive deceleration, you can one pedal drive. You can modulate the throttle. See, I'm slowing down right here. I'm not even hitting the brake. I'm just using the electric motors to slow me down to a complete stop. And I'm hardly ever touching the brakes. So you'll probably, you know, get 150, 200,000 miles out of the brakes in this thing with the regenerative braking. All right, here we are. Finally, we made it. And the nice thing too about a lot of these fast chargers is that they always put them near pretty convenient places, malls, gas station, McDonald's, Starbucks. So if you do have to wait to charge, you have a little something to do to keep you occupied. So here are the Tesla chargers over here. I've been here many times charging Teslas. Then over here we have the Electrify America chargers. Tesla is fairly simple to charge. You have a Tesla account, you plug it in, and it bills you automatically to your Tesla account. It recognizes the vehicle. I've used these before, these Electrify America. It's not as seamless as Tesla, but it's a fairly good experience when I did it. All right, so first thing we need to do is we need to open the charge port. All right, take this thing off my head. So there's a charge port right there. So then you flip this part down to accommodate the fast charger. So these are the CCS chargers. So everything else besides Tesla pretty much uses CCS, but that is starting to change. All right, so let's see here. All right, so plug in first. So these are a little bit larger too. That's the nice thing about the Tesla chargers. They're a lot lighter. This thing's like a fire hose. It's gigantic. And you kind of have to manhandle it around. It's not easy to get in there. So if you're kind of a smaller person, that might be a little bit tougher for you. But we got that done, so that's ready. So plug it in, and then it's going to need my credit card. Connect it to vehicle. This might take a minute. All right, there we go. And that tells you how much they charge. So I'm going to put my credit card in there. We'll see how we're doing. All right. Oh. I gotta do a card reader. Oh, approved. Okay, there we go. Payment authorized. So that's fairly seamless. Initiating charging. All right. Hopefully it charges. Okay, so up to ultra fast, up to 150 kilowatts. See here, the vehicle's at 13%, so I can tell how much charge the vehicle has. So obviously the vehicle is communicating with the charger, energy delivered, and that's how much the charging sessions cost. And let's see if it gives me any speed. So, oh, well, this is encouraging. So the last time I was here in a Rivian, I was having a hard time getting over 60 kilowatts. Someone else was so angry they actually scratched out this part here and wrote 50 kilowatts. But look at this. We're up to 140 kilowatts. So we're doing a lot better than last time. It was actually very discouraging last time. And the thing is, last time I was the only vehicle here. It wasn't like all these chargers were taken up and I was the only one here, so there wasn't any reason why it should have been that way. So it's 40 minutes to 100%. That's not bad. All right. So we'll check in a little bit and see how we're doing. Let's see what it says in the Rivian side. Well, Rivian's not quite as optimistic as the other charger. So it says ends in 1 hour, 23 minutes. So I've added 1 miles, and the charge rate is 292 miles per hour. So it's a little bit more optimistic on the Electrify America side. Can't talk today. All right, we'll check in a little bit. All right, not too bad. I walked in the mall, went to use the bathroom. I think I was gone for like 15 minutes. So when I plugged it in, we were at 14%. Now we're at 55%, 155 miles of range. So I think that's enough for now. Let's go see how much it's cost so far. All right, so looks like it says I have what, about 23 minutes left, where the Rivian says it's about an hour. So it's cost $30 so far. So I've added about 110, 120 miles of range for $30. Obviously not the most cost effective. Obviously charging from home is going to be the cheapest way. But as a stopgap, like if you're in a tight spot and you need enough charge to make it to your destination to get home, it's always nice to have this option. So we're going to hit stop right here. It's going to stop the charging. It's going to charge me $30. And then it looks like they charge an idle fee too if you have it on the charger and it's done charging. So they remove it, put it right there, and boom, we're good. All right, something just popped in my head. So we were actually right next to a Tesla charger at that Electrify America. So I'm curious what the Tesla chargers cost per kilowatt. So Electrify America is charging, if I remember correctly, 54 cents a kilowatt. So let's take a look and see what we have here. So we have the supercharger, Auburn right there. So 43 cents a kilowatt. That was a Tesla supercharger right next to Electrify America. So that is about 11 cents a kilowatt cheaper than Electrify America. And you can see with Tesla, you know, their rates can vary. The most expensive is 46 kilowatts. And then the most expensive is 46 cents a kilowatt. Then if we go all the way down here, you can see this one is 20 cents a kilowatt or 21 cents a kilowatt. So it's not all, you know, fixed at different, it depends on how the usage at those locations, things like that. But the Tesla, you know, app does give you a lot of information. It tells you how far away they are, and it tells you how many charging stalls are available. And you can just hit that button right there, and it will navigate you to the supercharger, and it will start preconditioning your battery for faster charging. So just figure I'd compare that for a little food for thought. All right, well, there we go. I'm not sure what that noise is. It might be the battery. Just the cooling system might be on overdrive since it was fast charging. I think that's what it is. And then, for I guess a grand finale, since I have a little bit more juice, let's put it in sport mode. And we'll see how it drives in sport mode. All right. So the good news is that the charging seemed to go a lot better this time for me. All right. So the good news is that the charging went faster than last time. But the bad news is it's still kind of pricey to fast charge one of these things. So you can see, like, if we're gonna go on a 1,000-mile road trip and we had to charge just from these things, it would be expensive. I think it actually would be more expensive than doing it in a gas car, believe it or not. As crazy as that sounds. So we got in sport mode. So we're unleashing all 800 horsepower from the quad motors. You can, before I had it like on just standard mode. Then you have economy mode, which is pretty cool. It actually just makes it front wheel drive. You just use the front electric motors instead of all of them. And that helps it for whatever reason. I guess with the front motors versus the rear motors going, that's the most efficient way for it to drive. Yeah, and it's still pretty loud, but I'm pretty sure that noise is the battery cooling system. Just because we're fast charging, it heats up the batteries, so it's just cooling the batteries off so they don't get too hot, so they don't get ruined. One thing I also noticed in sport mode is that with the suspension in the lowest setting, it's definitely a little bit more bumpier. The ride's a little bit firmer, which makes sense because if you know, just only in sport mode are we accelerating fast, but we're also, you know, going through corners and stuff, so that kind of firms up the ride a little bit, less body roll, and definitely a little bit more, a lot more responsive on the throttle. You can feel like it's like a, you can feel that 800 horsepower just waiting to be unleashed. Right. Let's say no turn on red, so I'm gonna just sneak up a little bit. Oh, we got a green light. All right. This thing just wants to go. Oh, woo! Little burst of acceleration right there. You can break the speed limit in a matter of seconds in this thing. It's not hard at all. It's a riot. The thing with electric vehicles, versus a gas car, even a performance gas car, like if we were like in like a Ram TRX with a big, you know, Hemi V8, when you mash in the gas, even in a vehicle like that, there'll be a moment of hesitation while the vehicle has to figure out, okay, which gear am I going to put it in, and then the engine's going to rev a little bit to put it in its optimum power band, then you take off. But with electric vehicle, you just have instantaneous throttle response. There is no gas vehicle that can duplicate the level of instant throttle response and next snapping acceleration that you get from a performance EV like this, even a truck. And it's across the board: Teslas, Rivians, Polestars, Mach-E, the Ford Lightning. They're all like that. When you drive an electric vehicle for any point in time, just how smooth it is, not feeling the transmission shifting, vibrations from the engine, it's almost hard to go back to a gas vehicle. A gas vehicle almost seems chaotic after feeling the refinement and smoothness of an EV. Oh, we got some corners right here. Let's see how this 7,000-pound pickup truck goes around the corners. Wow, yeah, in sport mode, there's hardly any body roll. This handling's pretty good for a big pickup truck as my stuff slides around in the back. All right, and let's feel the acceleration. We're on the highway now, so I'm gonna just pin it. Yeah. Wow. You know, it's not a Tesla Model S Plaid, but it's maybe like Tesla Model 3 performance level of acceleration. It's fast. And we're going up a steep grade right here, and this thing doesn't get affected by it. You don't even know you're on a grade in a vehicle like this. Well, some cars might be struggling to get up this grade, especially trucks. This thing will just power right up it, no problem at all. Yeah, this thing is going up the grade, no problem. Even accelerates pretty rapidly up the grade. And now, the best part is these amazing ADAS systems. There we go. Still kind of getting used to it. It's a little bit different than Tesla, but I'm telling you, these ADAS systems are gonna spoil you too. So the smoothness and quietness is gonna spoil you. The rapid acceleration of quad motors, 800 horsepower, is gonna spoil you. And this amazing ADAS system that takes the workload off of you and horrible driving in traffic is also going to spoil you. So this is a vehicle that will spoil you in many ways. It's also very pretty and very bright out. Well, that pretty much ends our fun as I kind of make my way back to the dealership in this stop and go traffic. Oh, telling me to just pay attention, keep my hands on the wheel. Hopefully this was educational and informative to you, regardless if you're interested in this particular Rivian or just looking for information in general. Hopefully it was. Thank you so much for taking the time today to watch this video. Hopefully we see you soon, and have a wonderful day.